And now, please stand, keeping the aisles clear, and welcome the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences graduate and undergraduate and Roswell Park graduating class of 2016.
Thank you. Please be seated. President Tripathi, Dean Kane, and distinguished guests, the candidates for degrees, the faculty, staff, families, and friends of the candidates are assembled. I therefore declare the commencement exercises of the University at Buffalo, Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, and the Roosevelt Park Graduate Division to be officially open.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Kane. I serve as Vice President for Health Sciences and Dean of the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. So welcome each of you to the 2016 Biomedical Sciences Commencement. To begin, it's my pleasure to introduce the Royal Pitches, UB's all-female a cappella group who will lead us in singing the national anthem. If I can ask everybody to please stand and ask gentlemen to please remove your caps.
Sorry, oh my God. 1, 2. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Again, welcome to this very, very special day for all of us. Our graduates will soon receive their undergraduate and graduate degrees. Parents, spouses, family members, and friends exude appropriate pride and joy for their accomplishment. To the graduating class, my heartfelt congratulations. We look forward and expect you to contribute to and have leadership roles in American and international biomedical science and research. I also want to take a moment and recognize and thank the tireless efforts of our faculty and staff. Representatives of both groups are sitting behind me for preparing this outstanding class for careers in biomedical sciences. Please join me in thanking them. It's next my pleasure to introduce the president of the University at Buffalo, Dr. Satish Tripathi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all our families and honored guests. Most of all, congratulations to the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, class of 2016. As graduates, you will have a permanent place of honor in UB's proud history and our bright future. You will make history and shape the future of medicine and life sciences because of what you have learned here and how you will pass that knowledge on to others. Your achievements now and in the future are the outcome of your ethical pursuit of knowledge, inquiry, and discovery. Your embrace of new ideas, new models of thinking, and your commitment to collaboration, intellectual exchange, and dialogue across borders of all kinds, disciplinary, ideological, and cultural. These are the intellectual values we prize above all at UB. They are what we seek to instill in all our students as we prepare them for global leadership in their fields. As students in the biomedical sciences, you have lived these values each day. And as graduates and UB-educated global citizens, you will carry these values with you out into the world. As you have learned, engaging with multiple and conflicting points of view is richly rewarding, but seldom easy. This year, universities across the nation have been a site of intense debate about what it means to create and sustain a genuinely inclusive campus environment. Here at UB, for example, we have grappled together with how to negotiate the boundaries of freedom of expression within an inclusive, welcoming academic community. These are difficult but necessary conversations. And there is great and enduring value in them. Exploring difficult concepts from multiple points of view is key to what we do as an academic community. And it is critical to learning and contributing meaningfully in every field, certainly to the medical and healthcare fields. When you establish in your careers and look back at your time at UB, I expect what you will remember above all are the people you lived and learned with here. You will remember the most difficult concepts in your field because you learned them through conversations with peers who challenged you to reach farther, dig deeper. You will remember vigorously debating complicated questions of medical ethics with the students who saw the world differently than you. You will remember the first time you met with a researcher or collaborator in a lab who is from a different culture than you. And what you have learned by looking through their eyes will continue to shape how you think about critical care and collaborative research in the future. Together with the concepts, theories, and practical techniques you have mastered in the lecture hall, lab, and clinic, this is what you will take with you into your professional lives. The communities you serve as clinical researchers, investigators, and innovators will be healthier and stronger for these values, whether that means bringing across cultural perspective into your practice or your lab, collaborating with colleagues across different disciplines and health professions to create life-changing medical innovations, or working to ensure equitable healthcare outcomes in local and global communities. In an increasingly globalized world, we need clinical researchers and innovators like you, collaborative leaders whose perspectives have been shaped by engaging with multiple points of view. Class of 2016, as you prepare to take up the next great challenge in your lives, know that your alma mater is deeply proud of you. and we look forward to all that you will achieve and contribute in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Tripathi, for those comments. Good afternoon, parents and graduates. We are very pleased to have as our distinguished commencement speaker, Dr. Diane Worth. Dr. Worth received her PhD from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and is currently the Richard Pierce Strong Professor of Infectious Disease and Chair of the Department of Immunology and Infectious Diseases at the Harvard University School of Public Health. She serves as co-director of the Infectious Disease Initiative of the Broad Institute of Harvard and MIT, and is also the faculty chair of the Integrated Life Sciences Program at Harvard University's Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. That latter role is particularly appropriate given that Dr. Worth is one of the leading international authorities on malaria. She co-chairs the Global Infectious Diseases Program at the Harvard Global Health Institute. Among Dr. Worth's many honors, she is an elected member of the Institute of Medicine of the National Academy of Sciences and is a past president of the American Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. In 2010, Dr. Worth was elected a fellow of the American Academy of Microbiology, and in 2015, she was honored by the American Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene with the Joseph Augustine LaPrince Medal for outstanding work in the field of malaria. The deadly malaria parasite kills up to 1 million people every year, yet little is known about the biology or molecular biology of these organisms. Dr. Worth is an international leader in malaria research and an expert in the molecular biology of tropical diseases. As co-director of the Infectious Disease Institute, Dr. Worth provides new insight into how the malaria parasite has evolved, specifically in the areas of population biology, drug resistance, and antigenicity. In addition, as director of the Harvard Malaria Initiative, Defeating Malaria from Genes to the Globe, and co-chair of the Global Infectious Disease Program, Dr. Worth has created a unique malaria research and training network that brings together scientists with expertise in molecular biology, genetics, genomics, population genetics, chemistry, cell biology, epidemiology, computational biology, biostatistics, and leading clinicians in infectious diseases and pathology. The long-term goal of her work is to understand basic molecular mechanisms in protozoan parasites with the goal of discovering and applying preventative and therapeutic interventions against infection. Dr. Worth's research is made possible through collaborative research partnerships with investigators, universities, and clinical centers in Africa, Asia, Central, and South America. Diane and her team study the evolutionary adaptations of the Senegalese people and their malaria parasites in the field and the lab. These scientists are seeking signs of natural selection at the molecular level to help fight malaria in a smarter way. And if I might, in a personal aside, say I've known Dr. Worth for 35 years, and I can think of no better representative of my field, molecular parasitology, to give this commencement speech today. So I ask you to join me in giving her a very, very warm welcome.
Well, thank you, Jay, for that very nice introduction. Mr. President, Dean Kane, members of the faculty, thank you. I am honored to be here. First, I want to say congratulations to the graduates of the class of 2016 for your accomplishments. Importantly, also, congratulations to your family and friends for their part in your success. And graduates, please give your family a big hand. I also, being a faculty member myself, want to say congratulations to the faculty This is one of the proudest days of the year for any faculty member. You see before you your accomplished graduates, the tangible results of your mentoring and teaching and their hard work. And so this is an exciting day. And to the graduates, you are entering your careers at one of the most exciting times in biomedical science. There is enormous expansion of knowledge, a host of new tools and technologies, and a clear pathway from fundamental discovery to prevention and cure of some of the most complex diseases that afflict the human population. Be it new treatments for melanoma that target regulation of the immune system, to the potential of genetic engineering to correct inborn errors in rare genetic diseases, or to new and effective treatments for infectious agents such as hepatitis C. As is often the case with advances in technology, there are moral, ethical, financial, and social issues that surround these advances, and we as scientists must help bring reasoned discourse to the public discussion. In a time of unprecedented investment by the private sector in new medicines, we need to advocate for the continued investment in the fundamental science that underpins all of these advances. And of course, there are many diseases that afflict millions where we don't yet have answers. Many of these are neglected diseases, such as the diseases that I and members of my department work on, where investments are limited. There is much to be done, and you are the ones who are going to do it. Particularly exciting is the interface of basic science with medical science and public health. And I congratulate the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Science on their new building. It's going to bring basic biomedical science together with didactic medical education. But not only do we need physical structures at this interface, but we need new ways to think about career development. My former dean, Julio Frank, described this as the T-shaped individual, or the T-shaped education. Someone with deep knowledge in a particular area or discipline, biology, chemistry, math, ethics. And that's the vertical part of the T, sort of the long part of the T. The horizontal part of the T are those disciplines and skills that allow the individual to interact with other professionals at a meaningful level to solve big problems: communications, priority setting, decision making. Traditionally, educational institutions do a great job at the vertical part of this education. Horizontal development is more of a challenge because it requires people with different different technical languages, different priorities to come together to be able to solve complex problems. But I truly believe that this is the future of solving the kinds of problems we face today in the biomedical world, both in private sector, public sector, and broadly, globally. So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about myself and how I came to be where I am today, and how I think about my education through that period, and my career development. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I see coming for you as graduates during this class. So growing up, I loved science, especially biology, almost as much as I loved baseball. And I was sure that I was going to medical school. That was where someone who loved science would go. But I was an undergraduate at the University of Wisconsin, and the Nobel laureate Joshua Lederberg was teaching a new course. There were no lectures. He just gave students projects, a lab, assigned projects, and asked us to design experiments to test a hypothesis. There were no right answers. Let the data tell the story. This hooked me on experimental research, and I never looked back. I decided to apply to graduate school instead of medical school. One course changed the entire direction of my career. Fast forward through graduate school. This was the golden era of microbial genetics and the beginning of molecular biology and genetic engineering, and I was at one of the epicenters in Boston, MIT. My plan was again clear. I was going to work at the cutting edge of molecular biology and focus on fundamental basic science for the rest of my career. I then joined Wally Gilbert's lab as a postdoc to learn DNA sequencing, the newest technique in the molecular biology toolkit at that time. I know for many of you this seems like ancient history, but I was there when it started. I was at the departmental retreat of the biochemistry department at Harvard, and I was sitting in the back row with my fellow postdoctoral fellows. We were an irreverent bunch, thinking that we really didn't need to spend time listening to these faculty members talk about how they viewed science. But Conrad Bloch chose to talk about malaria. He'd been asked by the World Health Organization to advise them on how to bring modern science to malaria. And he began talking about this major neglected tropical disease that was a huge problem, particularly for childhood health. As he spoke, I became fascinated. I moved to the edge of my seat. It was an amazing biological problem and a major global health problem. I could apply my skills of molecular biology and molecular genetics to a problem of immense human importance. I was sold. Harvard took a chance and hired me to the faculty of the School of Public Health to create the field of molecular parasitology there. I had spent all of my formal training learning the vertical part of that T, but nothing prepared me to take on a major global health problem. I still remember the first World Health Organization expert panel meeting that I attended soon after I joined the faculty. I explained with enthusiasm the fascinating biology of the parasite, what I wanted to do to learn more about it, and I got a few polite questions. But the focus of the others in the room were the immediate problems of drug resistance in the malaria parasite, insecticide resistance in the mosquito that transmits the parasite. Further, there were issues of access to medicines, maternal and child health, the two most susceptible groups of individuals to this disease, lack of investment in neglected disease by the major pharmaceutical companies, and questions of political willingness to attack this problem. That started the horizontal part of my education. I needed to understand the problem at a much broader level and a much deeper level in order to make an impact. I was lucky to be embedded at the School of Public Health and at a university where there are complementary disciplines and world experts. We speak different technical languages, have different perspectives and priorities, yet a problem as big as malaria, over 200 million cases a year, over 500,000 deaths, these disciplines must come together. We need expertise from the genes, from the basic science to the globe, those folks who know how to get things to work in the world. The field of global health has changed enormously in the last 2 decades. There's better utilization of current tools, drugs, insecticides, vaccines, improved access to medicines, and increased public awareness. Research, I'm pleased to say, has remained part of the agenda, and we are beginning to see the first impacts of modern technology on attacking these neglected diseases. The example that I'm going to choose for this is using genetic engineering approaches to prevent mosquitoes from transmitting disease. We see this now in the news headlines with regard to the threat of Zika virus. Technology that was originally derived by groups studying bacterial immune systems, or ways that bacteria recognize self from non-self, adapted primarily for use in humans to create potential tools for correcting genetic defects in humans. And yet, it is very likely that its first public health application will be in the modification of mosquito vectors to prevent the transmission of Zika virus. A really exciting time, and one showing that basic research, one would have never predicted that understanding how bacteria recognize related bacteria from unrelated bacteria would in some ways have an impact. And that is one of the fundamental joys and lessons of basic science. As new graduates, you are in an ideal place. You have deep knowledge of a particular discipline, and now would be a good time to think about the horizontal part of your T in your education and career development. Your generation will certainly be faced with threats from emerging infectious diseases. Just think about Ebola and Zika in the last year. Human cancers continue to be a challenge, and we are just starting to understand the biological basis of mental health. Then there are the health consequences of global warming, including increased spread of vector-transmitted diseases. These are big problems requiring deep scientific knowledge and commitment, but similarly requiring broad, reaching knowledge across many fields and disciplines. The pace of change is not subsiding, it is accelerating. We are on the cusp of an entirely new kind of knowledge in biology. We can now interrogate each individual, person, or microorganism at the most fundamental level. This is the era of big data and personalized medicine, but more broadly, this opens the possibility of understanding why some people die of a disease while others survive. You only need to look at the most recent Ebola epidemic to understand that there were people exposed who did not even get the disease, and others exposed and died very quickly. There's got to be a biological basis of that, and we're on the cusp of understanding that for Ebola, perhaps for malaria, and for many other diseases. If I were starting my career now, this is the place where I would put my effort. You would need for this cutting-edge computational and bioinformatics skills coupled with focused biological insights, but the opportunities for new knowledge are unlimited. Let me close, I know we need to get on with this ceremony, with paying tribute to one of my personal heroes, Professor Tu Youyou of China. Professor Tu's work exemplifies basic science research that has transformed public health on a global scale, benefiting hundreds of millions of people, including those in the most resource-poor setting. Tu Youyou led the team that discovered the anti-malarial drug artemisinin. This drug has literally saved millions of lives. Her work was done at the time of the Cultural Revolution in China, a time when intellectuals were banned and women rarely had leadership roles. The key to the discovery was her combined expertise and knowledge in modern pharmacology, coupled with her deep knowledge of traditional Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medical literature. She and her team did not stop at the discovery of the molecule, but went on to do clinical trials, register the drug, and begin its manufacture. For this work, she was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine last year, almost a half a century after her initial discovery. I had the honor to be one of 2UU's guests at the award ceremony in Stockholm in December, and it was an inspiring and emotional occasion. I have enormous admiration for 2UU. She is an inspiration not only to the young women in our midst who are pursuing careers in biomedical science, but to all of us who aspire each day to improve health through fundamental research. Congratulations to all the graduates, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Worth, for those inspiring words. The following awards recognize outstanding PhD degree candidates who have maintained a high level of academic performance and were selected based on their academic and research achievements as well as their research publications. The Biochemistry Dissertation Research Recognition Award. This award is made to the graduate student in the Department of Biochemistry who has received national or international recognition of his dissertation and who has been selected for oral presentation at a major national or international meeting. This award is presented to Vinesh Babu, a PhD candidate from the biochemistry program, for his dissertation entitled Coordination of Replication Initiation with Transcriptional Regulation in Escherichia coli. The Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences Dean's Award for Outstanding Dissertation Research. This competitive award recognizes an outstanding dissertation by a graduate student in the school as well as a distinguished academic record and a curriculum vitae that includes publications, abstracts, and presentations. This award is presented to Benjamin Orlando, a PhD candidate from the Structural Biology program, for his dissertation entitled Structural and Biophysical Analysis of the Allosteric Mechanisms Regulating Substrate Oxygenation in the Cyclooxygenase 2 dimer. Congratulations, Ben. The Microbiology and Immunology Award for Excellence in Dissertation Research in memory of Dr. Murray Stinson. This award is presented to Megan Jones, PhD, for a dissertation on structure and function of the oligopeptide permease transport system in the cell wall of Moraxella catarrhalis, a human respiratory pathogen. The Dennis Higgins Award for PhD Dissertation Research in Pharmacology and Toxicology is presented to a PhD graduate who has been mentored by a faculty member in the Department of Pharmacology and Toxicology in recognition of outstanding dissertation research and academic accomplishments. The department looks for these academic accomplishments combined with a spirit of collegiality and community service, reflecting the values exemplified by the late Dr. Dennis Higgins, who was a professor of pharmacology and toxicology. This award is presented to Shannon Clough for her dissertation in the Department of Neuroscience on circadian modulation of reward via the MT1 and MT2 melatonin receptors. Congratulations. I now invite Dr. Richard Hirschberger to the podium, please.
Good afternoon, and congratulations to the graduates and their families. The Roswell Park Cancer Institute Award for Overall Excellence in Cancer Research is awarded to the year's outstanding graduate of the Roswell Park Graduate Division based on an exemplary academic history, publication record, and research dissertation impact. This year's award is presented to Nicholas Lee, a PhD candidate in immunology, for his dissertation on essential roles of CD27, CD70 co-stimulation and beta-2 adrenergic receptor signaling in suppressing graft versus host disease. His work has yielded 8 publications and a current postdoctoral fellowship at the Harvard Brigham Regenerative Medicine Center. In his absence, we are happy to accept the award on behalf of Nicholas. Thank you. Presenting the undergraduate awards will be Dr. David Schubert, Assistant Dean for Biomedical Undergraduate Education.
At this time, we would like to proceed by recognizing several undergraduate students with awards for their academic achievements. The following awards recognize outstanding undergraduate degree candidates who have maintained a high level of academic performance and were selected based on their campus and community involvement. Each recipient will be presented with a monetary gift from his or her respective program director on behalf of the department and can be identified by the blue cord they are wearing. At this time, I'd like to call the student to come up to the stage to receive their award. For biochemistry, Sushobha Batra. For the Biomedical Sciences program, Nicholas Poje. For biotechnology, Saida Tahia. For medical technology, Jen Shen. For nuclear medicine technology, Nicole Meinhold. For pharmacology and toxicology, Sanya Braha. Congratulations for your outstanding academic achievement. The undergraduates that we would like to recognize at this time are the 2016 recipients of the SUNY Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence. This is the highest honor bestowed upon an undergraduate student within a SUNY system, as it recognizes them for the integration and academic excellence with other aspects of their lives. The Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences is proud to announce 2 SUNY Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence winners. As I read your name, can you just please stand at your seat and be recognized? Kristen Millville. And Natasha Singh. Congratulations.